This sudden, overwhelming anxiety does not actually belong to you. Instead, it is the direct echo of a significant emotional crisis that someone else is currently experiencing from a distance. This individual is struggling immensely, and the source of their turmoil is tied to you. And when I say they are doing very badly, I do not just mean that they are missing you with a bit of nostalgia. I mean that their very emotional foundation has been shaken to its core. Yesterday, this person felt your presence more intensely and more painfully than they have at any point since the separation or the distance grew between you. It is of vital importance that you grasp the fact that the invisible bonds connecting two human beings recognize neither physical kilometers nor blocks on social media platforms. Human connection, especially the kind that reaches deep into the spirit, operates like a system of interconnected vessels. When one side becomes completely overwhelmed, the other side inevitably feels the pressure. That sense of restlessness you experienced yesterday, the urge that made you check your phone constantly in anticipation of a message that never arrived, or that strange moment when you woke up at dawn with their name on your lips, was the undeniable confirmation that their internal defense mechanisms have finally collapsed. This person has dedicated a great deal of time to constructing a massive wall of indifference, trying hard to convince themselves that they could move on without your presence in their life, and that simply forgetting you was a viable option. But yesterday, that wall finally crumbled. The accumulated energy, everything they have kept locked away, everything they have desperately tried to suppress, exploded within their own reality. The shockwave was so powerful that you were able to perceive it physically. Understanding this is fundamental to finding your own inner peace, because it is highly probable that your logical, rational mind attempted to find an explanation for your discomfort. Perhaps you reasoned that it was just work stress or fatigue, or maybe you told yourself it was just your own fixation playing tricks on your mind. But your soul knows exactly how to distinguish between your own internal sadness and the sadness that is being projected from outside. What you felt yesterday was a silent, desperate cry for help. This person, in the depths of their solitude, was forced to confront the harsh reality of your absence, and the weight of that realization proved to be unbearable. They are discovering that no amount of distraction works, and that the noise of the busy world cannot silence the quiet voice of your memory. They are navigating a period of profound darkness, a dark night of the soul, in which the only light they can genuinely recognize is the one you once brought into their existence. And although their pride or their deep-seated fears prevent them from running to you at this exact moment, their energy has already reached out to you. Their spirit searched for you with desperate intensity yesterday, and that is why you felt that strange sensation, as if someone was watching you or calling out your name loudly in a completely empty room. But to truly understand why this emotional breakdown happened to them yesterday and not at some point last week or last month, you have to grasp the urgent message that their soul was silently crying out to you, a message you received without any spoken words. There is a hidden mechanism behind this event, an invisible gear that shifted and explains why the situation on the energetic plane suddenly changed so drastically. Have you asked yourself why your mind suddenly cannot stop bringing up their image with such intensity, almost as if this person were standing right there behind you? The answer lies in what transpired last night in their private space and in the energetic dynamic that was unleashed over the last 24 hours. If you feel ready to fully integrate this lesson into your own journey, acknowledge it for yourself. Yesterday was not just another ordinary day in the calendar of their emotional life. From an energetic perspective, there was a peak, a total saturation. Imagine that this person has been filling a glass with every single memory of you that they have been trying to suppress, with every lingering impulse to call you that they have held back, and with every tear they have swallowed in order to maintain a facade of strength. Yesterday, that glass finally overflowed. What happened is that the resistance this person was maintaining against the connection finally broke through sheer exhaustion. Maintaining an emotional lie requires a massive, unsustainable amount of energy. Pretending that someone who your soul recognizes as vital actually does not matter is the most exhausting work a human being can do. And yesterday, This person simply could not hold the weight of that mask anymore. It is quite likely that yesterday you experienced a moment of change. Perhaps for a brief instant, you decided to let go of the need for control. Perhaps you were so occupied with your own life and your own affairs that for a few hours you stopped sending that specific energy of waiting and anxiety in their direction. In the world of energy, when you stop pushing or waiting with desperation, you create a vacuum, and nature always seeks to fill a vacuum. When you withdrew your constant focused attention, even if only for a short time, this person was suddenly confronted with the true abyss of your absence. As long as you are present and projecting that energy of attachment, this person feels secure. They feel as though they have you tucked away in their energetic pocket, and that false sense of security allows them to remain safely in their comfort zone and play the role of the indifferent one. But yesterday something shifted in you, and that change triggered terror in their subconscious mind. They felt that they were truly, finally losing you. It was not a rational thought. It was a deep, visceral feeling. It was as if the air around them suddenly became incredibly dense. This person could have been surrounded by people at a social gathering or even attempting to focus on someone new, and out of nowhere, an overwhelming sense of emotional nausea took hold of them. Everything lost its flavor. The conversations of others seemed completely empty to them. The ambient sounds of the world only served to annoy them. Their own traitorous mind began bombarding them with comparisons. Everything they saw reminded them of you, but not in a way that brought sweet nostalgia. Rather, it was through the lens of a painful, gaping lack. They realized that nobody looks at them the way you did. Nobody understands them the way you do. Nobody shares that kind of love. Yesterday, the comparison was absolutely brutal, and they lost the battle against the power of your memory. This energetic peak manifests as an anxiety that has no obvious cause in their daily life. It is possible that everything appears to be going well at their job, that their health is fine, and that on the surface, everything is in order. Nevertheless, yesterday they felt that something terrible was happening, and that something was the terrifying certainty that time is running out, and that their pride is just too high a price to pay for the intense loneliness they feel. This person found themselves staring at their phone, perhaps drafting a message that they then deleted in panic, or visiting your social media profile to see if there was any sign of life, any indicator that you are still there, waiting for them. But they did it out of pain and out of a sense of urgency. Yesterday they felt you like never before because their barriers finally fell. When the ego gets too tired of fighting against reality, the soul takes command. And the soul of this person only wants one thing, which is to return home. And you are that energetic home. The intensity of what they felt yesterday was so overwhelming that it pushed them into a state of severe mental confusion. They began to question all of their recent decisions. They wondered why they distanced themselves, why they allowed things to reach this point of coldness and silence. Guilt and remorse are incredibly dense, heavy vibrations, and that is exactly what is consuming them right now. That is why we say that they are doing very badly. It is not an empty phrase meant to comfort you. It is a clinical description of their current vibrational state. They find themselves trapped in a whirlwind of contradictory emotions. They desire you, yet they are paralyzed by fear. They miss you deeply, yet they do not know if you would even receive them if they reached out. They want to talk to you, but the fear of being rejected again paralyzes them completely. And all of this internal storm generates a massive amount of psychic energy that is being directed straight at you. You are the sole receiver of this high-power emotional transmission. That is the exact reason why you felt the way you did yesterday, because you were receiving the direct impact of their breakdown. This person tried by every possible means to block you from their mind. Perhaps they tried to go to sleep early to avoid the thoughts, or they tried to immerse themselves in some distracting activity to drown out the silence. But energy is like water. It always finds a tiny crack through which to filter, and yesterday the flood was total. They realized that they carry you under their skin and that the trace you left on their life is truly indelible. This realization is profoundly frightening for someone who is actively running away from their own feelings, and that deep-rooted fear transformed into the very anxiety you felt yesterday. It is the specific fear of someone who realizes they have made a grave mistake and has no idea how to go about repairing it. But that anxiety did not arrive alone. There was a physical, almost painful sign that confirmed to them that they could no longer escape this feeling. It was not just a mental experience. Their body reacted. There is a biology behind missing someone that was activated yesterday with such unusual force that it prevented this person from functioning normally in their daily life. If you had the ability to see through walls and observe their behavior in their moments of solitude, you would see the irrefutable proof that your energy has taken complete control over their will. The fascinating thing about this connection is that it does not stay trapped at the level of abstract ideas or feelings. If we could observe the physical reality of this person at this precise moment, we would notice that their body is reacting in ways that are entirely beyond their logical control. The human body is the most sensitive receiver in existence. When the soul screams, the biology responds. What this person experienced yesterday and continues to experience today is an intense physical manifestation of your absence. It is not simply that they are thinking of you. Their organism is showing clear symptoms of energetic withdrawal. The resistance they attempt to maintain mentally is breaking down on a physical level. This causes them deep confusion and frustration because they cannot understand why they are feeling these things when, in theory, they are trying to move forward and leave the past behind. One of the most obvious symptoms that this person is suffering right now is a very specific pressure in the center of their chest. It is not a medical pain, but a deep feeling of tightness, as if an invisible fist was squeezing their heart, or as if they were struggling to catch their breath even while breathing perfectly well. This feeling of a knot is the physical expression of all the words they have swallowed and all the love they have suppressed for so long. Yesterday, this pressure became almost unbearable for them. It is highly likely that at some point during the day they had to stop what they were doing, take a deep breath, or even subconsciously place their hand on their chest to try to relieve a weight that is not physical but entirely emotional. It is the crushing weight of knowing, deep within their own cells, that they are far away from their true place of belonging. In addition to this tightness, there is another phenomenon that will surely be familiar to you because you may have experienced it as well, the insomnia of the early morning and waking up at specific mirror hours. This person is not sleeping well. They may manage to fall asleep from sheer exhaustion, but their sleep is shallow and constantly interrupted. Yesterday, it is very likely that they woke up abruptly between 3 and 4 in the morning with an inexplicable feeling of alertness, as if someone had called their name or turned on a bright light in their room. In the silence of the night, when the defense mechanisms of the ego are at their lowest point, their mind travels directly to you. They simply cannot avoid it. They toss and turn in bed, searching for a comfortable position, but the pillow feels as though it is filled with thoughts about what used to be and what could have been. This abrupt awakening is their body responding to the vibration you are emitting, or perhaps, paradoxically, to the vacuum you left behind when you withdrew your energy from their immediate reach. Another physical symptom that reveals their current state is an unusual bone-deep fatigue, an exhaustion that does not disappear no matter how much they sleep or try to rest. This person feels heavy, as if walking or completing simple daily tasks requires twice the effort it normally does. This exhaustion is caused by the energy drain resulting from their intense internal struggle. Imagine the sheer amount of vital resources that are consumed when you try to lie to yourself all day long, pretending that an essential person no longer matters to you. This fight between the mind that says no and the heart that says yes drains their reserves of vitality. That is the reason this person felt and still feels today, completely drained, lacking motivation, and moving through their day on automatic pilot. The people around them may notice that their gaze has dimmed, that they lack their usual spark or enthusiasm because their primary energy source, which was once potentiated by your presence, now feels distant. It is also very common that in this state changes in appetite occur. The stomach, which is often considered our second emotional brain, tends to shut down in the face of the anxiety caused by separation. This person may feel a knot in their stomach that makes it impossible to eat normally. Or, on the contrary, they may suffer from anxiety attacks that they try to soothe by eating foods without even tasting them. Yesterday, food had no flavor for this person. Everything seemed bland to them because the sweetness of life, in their subconscious perception, is inextricably connected to you. When the spirit is not nourished by the love and connection it craves, the body loses interest in physical nourishment. It is a primitive form of grief that their organism is processing without their conscious mind ever fully admitting it. Even this person's senses are searching for you, constantly creating illusions. It is entirely possible that yesterday they thought they saw your silhouette among the people walking on the street, or that they heard a voice identical to yours in the middle of a crowd. The sense of smell, which is the sense most strongly linked to emotional memory, constantly plays tricks on them. Suddenly, a breeze carrying a specific fragrance reaches them that reminds them of you, of your perfume, or simply of your essence. In places where it is physically impossible for you to be, their brain is so desperate to find patterns that confirm your proximity that it begins to project you into their physical reality. Yesterday, this person abruptly turned their head, fully believing that you were right there, and when they realized you were not, the feeling of emptiness inside them multiplied. Their body searches for you like water naturally searches for the riverbed. This biological and instinctive search is the irrefutable proof that although their lips are silent, their cells are screaming for you. The fascinating thing is that this is not magic. It is a law of the mind and nature that a great visionary discovered decades ago, which perfectly explains your current situation. Understanding why their body reacts this way to your invisible energy will give you the peace of mind to stop doubting your intuition. It will help you deeply understand why this person broke down yesterday without you being in front of them and why you were able to feel it with such startling clarity. We must turn to the wisdom of one of the greatest explorers of the human mind, Carl Jung. Although he lived many years ago, this thinker understood a fundamental truth that modern spirituality confirms every day, that we are not actually separate. Jung taught us that our minds are not isolated islands in the middle of an empty ocean, but that they are part of an immense network, a vast ocean of shared consciousness where everything is connected beneath the surface. He called this the collective unconscious. To better visualize it today, we can imagine it as a massive invisible network, similar to a global Wi-Fi network that covers the entire universe and to which we are all permanently connected. Imagine that you and this person are two trees planted kilometers apart. On the surface, it seems as though they have nothing to do with one another. Each has its own trunk, its own branches, and its own space. However, deep underground, their roots extend, touch, and intertwine in the darkness. Through these hidden roots, nutrients, information, and warning signals are constantly transmitted. When one of the trees suffers an impact or an abrupt change, the other tree immediately receives the signal through this system of shared roots. Carl Jung explained that this underground connection is the reason why we can feel someone without seeing them, and why significant events often occur simultaneously. Within this vision exists a wonderful concept that Jung called synchronicity. Synchronicities are not mere coincidences or empty random events. They are moments when the outer world reflects exactly what is happening in our inner world. When you felt that anxiety out of nowhere yesterday, or when this person heard a song that reminded them of you at the exact moment they were trying to forget you, it was not chance. It was a synchronicity. It is the universe orchestrating reality to show you that the connection is still very much alive. Synchronicity is the language that this great shared mind uses to tell both of you that the chapter is not closed. It is as if the universe were conspiring so that this person, no matter how hard they run, always encounters signs that lead them right back to you. Now, you might ask, why did this person feel you yesterday with such volcanic intensity? According to this Jungian vision, thoughts and emotions are real energy, as real and tangible as the electricity that lights a lamp. When you think of someone with great force or release an emotion with immense determination, you send a wave through this invisible network. Yesterday, something shifted in your own energy.